People like to talk a lot about destiny and who you're supposed to be, who you're supposed to become. And I think that's a great question to ask ourselves. But it's interesting when we look in the book of Acts at the experience that the Apostle Paul had when he was on the road to Damascus. He was traveling to persecute Christians. He had the letters, he had the law behind him that he could go and arrest these Christians, put them to death if he found them practicing Christianity. It's interesting what happens there is that Jesus knocks him off his donkey and he asks him one question, two questions Paul asked. And he said, "Who are you, Lord? And what do you want me to do?" If we look at all of the retellings of the story, we see that those are the two questions Paul asked. Today we're all asking, who am I? What am I supposed to do? But we really need to ask, who are you, Lord? Start with asking God who he is. Before we're asking who we're meant to be, is finding out who he is. Because when we understand who he is, we understand our identity in him. And we can look throughout the epistles, the writings of Paul, over and over and over. He uses the words in Christ, in whom, through him, by him, from him. In other words, a preposition in some sort of reference to Jesus. So instead of spending so much time trying to figure out who we are, which I'm for personality tests. I'm for learning who you are. I'm for learning your history and understanding your wirings and getting emotional healthy in that way. But that'll only take us so far. We've got to understand who he is and who he's called us to be before we just understand what our natural wirings are. Because we understand what our natural wirings are, but we have to understand what our supernatural wirings are so that we can be all that God has called us to be. And I believe that Paul spent his whole life answering that question, who are you, Lord? What do you want me to do?